Welcome to the Labyrinth. If this is your first visit to the Labyrinth, we've got a number of other videos on archangels, especially in our angels playlist. So I do recommend that you go and look at them. And if you've not worked with angels before, start with Archangel Michael and work your way through. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about Archangel Gabriel, his powers, and what he can teach and share with us as part of improving our connection with the divine, the creator. And this is about bringing more peace to our lives. So just a reminder, when we invoke the angels, it's very important to remember their primary purpose and function is to reawaken our memory of our divine plan and our purpose for this earthly life. So when you can connect or invoke them to connect with you, you would always call upon the Creator first by whatever name that you refer to the Creator, because angels, of course, do not discriminate. So you might call the Creator God, Jesus, Allah. These are just some examples. Elohim, Jehovah, Shiva. Other people I know refer to the Creator as all that I am, or even the divine goddess. So it's very important when we work with angelic connections, if you like, or divine connections, that we be comfortable with the terms that we use, because this actually assists us in that process. Now, if you're not comfortable with the term angels, then I suggest that you change that name as well to beings of light, or the shining ones is another term that people use, or light beings of the highest order. These are just other descriptors. So you would find one that feels comfortable for you within that regard as well. It's all about the intention here. So just to be really clear, I think everybody knows that when we're working with angels, they don't actually have these great big white feathers. This is about angels manifesting in a way that we're comfortable with. But from an imagery perspective, I like to put feathers on them. Interestingly, though, with Gabriel, he's actually recorded in the Old Testament. And when he presents and manifests, apparently he doesn't manifest with wings. But moving on. So in the Angels playlist I've created, there's actually a video that's dedicated to angelic orders and the hierarchy. But I have taken this slide from that video to help you to understand the role and relevance of Archangel Gabriel within the angelic kingdom. So Gabriel is referred to as what is a great archangel. And in fact, my position is that he actually would probably be one of the greatest ones, along with Archangel Michael, because Archangel Michael is considered to be at the right hand of the Creator, whereas Gabriel, it doesn't, as far as I know, it doesn't say where he sits, but that when he presents and within his role, he comes as directed by the Creator to people as required. And his primary purpose is to resurrect their life mission. And if we look at what the word resurrect actually means, it's to bring to life something that to all extents and purposes appears to be dead. So Gabriel brings to life our mission here on earth, and he provides information to us about our karmic path and our purpose as a primary role, because of course there's other things that he does, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. I should have said that actually the angelic hierarchy image that I've put up is not the be-all and end-all of angels' purposes and functions. There's a lot more than that, but that's basically an introductory type slide. And before we talk about Archangel Gabriel directly and specifically, it's important that you understand angelic behaviour, because they are bound by spiritual law in the same way that humans are. And therefore, because they are, you may as well say, more enlightened than what we are, more aware, certainly they will never do anything that might incur negative karma for you, for me, for themselves. Okay, they all have this specific purpose that's individual to them, and they will all work together as a team when required for people such as yourself or me that might ask for healing. Now, having said that, when we connect with angels, it can actually be unsettling a little bit, because there becomes a quickening of the aura, and that can feel a little bit uncomfortable and even a bit frightening when we're first connecting. And this is why I always recommend start with Archangel Michael, because he oversees the base and red chakra, and then shift up to working with Archangel Gabriel, because he helps with the processing of fear and releasing of fear, because there actually is an order to the chakra growth. So Gabriel is up there. We'll get into it a little bit more as far as when you working with the energy of Gabriel, it's actually very high energy, and if you're not used to it, it can actually be quite overwhelming. So bearing in mind, I just mentioned you would start with Archangel Michael, shift on to Archangel Uriel, then you would be working with Archangel Jophiel, and from there, Archangel Shamuel. You could actually work with Archangel Shamuel at any time because he oversees the heart chakras. But the bottom line is that if you're working with Archangel Shamuel without having put in the groundwork, you might actually create some problems for yourself because you're wearing your heart on your sleeve and you're not necessarily being grounded and practical. That's just my thoughts, okay? Just throwing that out there for you. But anyway, where to from there? Oh, yes, the reminder, their love for us is actually unconditional because they recognize and know being a human can be very difficult. We come down to earth for experiences that include challenges, and so they know it's really hard. They don't judge us, okay? They are there to support us, and this is what they try to do, to support us to reawaken to our mission. And so therefore they will never ever do anything to frighten us. In regard to Gabriel, as I said before, he is recorded in the Bible as appearing to prophets, and each time apparently he has manifested or the people that he's manifested to have found his presence to be very overpowering to the point that they actually drop to their knees. And Gabriel is written in all circumstances, telling them to rise, not to be frightened. So I think it would be fair to take from these notes. And just to remind you, the Old Testament is incorporated in both, well, not both, within Islam, Judaism, and also Christianity, but there may be other religions that actually have the Old Testament. I don't know. So I just find that interesting. Anyway, going back to it, I think it would be fair to take from the words that are recorded that his presence and his energy can be quite overwhelming. It can be intense, and it might be a little, as I said, create a little bit of fear, but that's only because when we connect with angels, we're bringing our vibration up to meet them. They drop their vibration, but they're still very high vibration. So it's not necessarily fear. It's just a physiological adjustment, shall we say. Anyway, the other thing, as I said before, is he is said to present as a man without wings, just as a note. So just in case we have any people that are of the Islamic faith, they might actually gasp a little bit when I say that Gabriel is referred to in their own scriptures, if you like. But, so I'll clarify this now. The interpretation, its language, I understand, and if my pronunciation is incorrect, my apologies in advance. I believe he is referred to in the Islamic text as Gabriel with a Jibril. So it's just a different pronunciation, but it is the same angel, if you like, and the same angelic purpose. His name means to stand for clarity, purity, order, and discipline. As stated, his primary purpose is resurrection. And each of those appearances that he has made that are recorded in the Bible have included instructions for people on what they need to do to fulfill their divine plan or meet their divine responsibilities toward themselves, humanity, and also as part of the divine idea to meet the divine creator's plan in this. So it's about fulfilling our purpose. And we all need to have this clarity of purpose. And to achieve our purpose, there has to be a purity of intention in there when we're doing our divine plan as well. And so Gabriel's role includes when we're striving to achieve these goals, that we adhere to the virtues. And this is where he helps us. We've got to have self-discipline to make sure that we don't deviate from maintaining our own integrity, and of course to hold firm faith throughout the process. When we talk about faith, of course, we're talking about the unquestioning trust of the Creator and the confidence and belief in the ability to perform miracles. Now, Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Michael, as I said before, they're the only angels mentioned by name in the Bible. And just to clarify, I'm talking the Old Testament. And it's because of this that I consider that a reflection of the great power that these two angels have, because they are mentioned by name and they're both mentioned as having close proximity to the Creator. So the other relevance for information about Gabriel, of course, is his name also means man of God, or I believe translates actually man of God, strength of God, depending on the translation of the text. Some refer to him as a messenger of God, or the Lord, or the Lord's man. I did say before, obviously in the Quran, he's referred to as Gabriel. Now, the reference to that, which I find very interesting actually, is apparently Muhammad was inspired to create the religion Islam after a visitation by Gabriel. He went into a cave or whatever. And, I'm not of this faith, by the way. And I just want to be very clear. I haven't read all of this, the Bibles and the texts and that kind of stuff. It's just understandings that I've picked up along the way. But anyway, my understanding is that Muhammad went into a cave and he was inspired by Gabriel to found Islam. At the same time, Gabriel is a messenger who was sent to Mary to inform her that she was going to give birth to Jesus. What I find interesting when we're looking for similarities, because I prefer to look for similarities as opposed to differences, is that the Muslims actually do perceive Jesus to be a prophet, but they don't hold the same belief about him as what the Christians do. So that's just an interesting tidbit for people that didn't know. I mean, Gabriel obviously went and appeared to other people as well over the years, and it is recorded. I believe he went to, and I've forgotten the name right now, but the parents of John the Baptist, I believe he went and informed them that John the Baptist was going to be born, and that was a miracle in the day because his mum was apparently really well past childbearing years at the time he was conceived. So anyway, moving on from all of that, which is just a little bit of background, let's talk more about what Gabriel will do and how he works. Okay, so the first thing is, yes, he is a messenger. He brings to you information about your purpose. He helps you with your spiritual awakening. He resurrects your desire to fulfill your divine plan and divine blueprint and to find your purpose on life. And he helps you to purify yourself and your intention and to understand and awaken, this reawakening to this earthly life mission. Now, in this image, of course, I have got his twin flame, who I believe is called Hope. Hope is the pure essence of the Divine Mother, apparently, and she does offer nurturing energy to help you overcome any sense of stuckness. Now, together they'll remind you of the perfect vision of yourself and your divine potential, and they will guide you toward your next step in your life and reveal to you this earthly mission that you've got. Now, spirit communicators, this is just an extra tidbit here, they're going to know, most of them I would imagine, I'd be surprised if they didn't, that when they are working with spirit and doing spirit communication, or when they're channeling, that they're actually working with the energy of Archangel Gabriel. And I just want to clarify the point here. There's a difference between channeling a guided message and spirit communication, but I will put that on a different video. But more specifically, let's talk about Hope here for a moment. Her role and function, and they work together, so, there is no real separation. But of course, you will know this business of the mother love, the nurturing qualities, the care, the gentleness, or whatever that are considered to be maternal aspects. This is overseen by Hope. But anyway, moving on to the next slide. So, at the risk of sounding a little bit repetitive, because I know that I am, at the end of the day, when we talk about Archangel Gabriel being the angel of resurrection, this is because his primary task, of course, includes raising to conscious awareness the memory of the divine path, which is our personal blueprint, so that we're able to walk our path with integrity, honesty, and peaceful and loving communication. So his powers, of course, include nurturing this strength, or our personal strength, and the purification of our entire self across all the planes and layers. And this also means that we develop, or we're more capable or more able to see this perfect harmony, the divine design that we live in, the world around us. Okay, now once we've got the perfect vision happening, as in being able to see and feel the beauty of life, we start to see the divine essence in all things, and that includes the challenges that we face. So Gabriel's power help us to ascertain truth in situations which can often conflict with our own sense of morality. And this is quite often when situations are being presented as truth. And I say presented, but it's more likely a misrepresentation of truth, and we're able to discern through it through drawing upon the power of Gabriel's energy. And then not only are we able to see through it, we're able to actually address misrepresentations, because we can then express what we believe and feel. He gives us the courage of our convictions also, that we're all making a spiritual, a spiritual contribution to the development of humanity just through being true to who and what we are. What else can I say? His powers include the power of miracles and also the removing of the obstacles that block us on our path as we're living our divine potential. And from my perspective, it does seem to me that the further we as humanity shift away from faith and a belief in the Creator, the more people feel lost and unfulfilled, and there is that perception that life is meaningless. And this is why Gabriel's messages are so important, that and his role to to resurrect this business of our faith, and to know our purpose, to know our divine blueprint consciously, and to recognize that we're all interconnected. We all play a role, we all play a part in this human structure, and we're all important. So, as I said before, also, when he appears, it's usually as an announcement to a person of the acts that they must do, that they've agreed to as part of their divine plan, as acts of service for humanity and the Creator. And a better way of describing it, I guess, is that he helps to ascertain the truth within situations that conflict with our morality and our sense of self. More often, the messages that are communicated to us are not necessarily these proclamations that we might find in the Bible, but instead they are inspirations, and even intuitive, where it means waking up in the morning with an idea of what we should be doing as part of our next step, or even finding yourself taking an action that leads to the next step. Where there's opposition on the path, Gabriel and his legions will help clear the path of obstacles and opposition if you ask. That's part of an invocation. And each time he appears, it is as a response to an invitation. So that's very important to know. This is why invocation, which has different spelling, is so important, because to connect with Archangel Gabriel and all the angels, you must invite their presence through prayer to the Creator. And accordingly, certainly with Archangel Gabriel, each time he presents and intervenes, if you like, he clearly states that he's been directed to do so by the Creator, to act and speak on the Creator's behalf. So just a reminder here, what that looks like in the Bible. I know everybody's not into the Old Testament and that, but, as an example, he appeared to Mary, informed her that she would give birth to a son. Obviously, that would be Jesus. And the message was the Creator loves people so much that he wanted them to know that those that have faith will experience eternal life. And he informed Zacharias that his aged wife would give birth to a son, a cousin to Jesus. And this son was John the Baptist. Another key message is that when we're in body, we've got to learn to live by faith. It's important for us to be able to achieve our potential, of course, and to live by the divine blueprint, rather. And to be able to walk our path with integrity, with this honest, peaceful, and loving communication. Now, just a reminder, the communication center is actually the throat chakra. And so Gabriel works to purify and to help ensure our integrity. So we've talked about Gabriel being a resurrector, but we haven't really spoken about him as the messenger in detail. So his foremost and primary message is that all of us are on a human journey, and all of us that are on earth basically are going through a journey back to the light. And the journey to consciousness and the releasing of the material and lower energies involves a form, and the word can be a bit alarming to people, but it's a form of crucifixion where it's a very emotional and testing time. And this is why it's referred to as a bit like a personal crucifixion. It's the pain and the loss of loved ones, jobs, reputation. These can all be part of this crucifixion because it allows for a resurrection, if you like. And sometimes the pain and loss refers to a loss of reputation. It could be professional, and it's when we move through this pain, we're able to shift to a higher level of awareness and a higher vibration. And that's the form of rebirth, that resurrection on earth, where we can step onto what is referred to or called by some the ascension pathway. Now, it's going to involve apparently a series of initiations, and I think we need to clarify that word, which can be, when we talk about testing, if you like, this is what they mean by crucifixion. There may be multiple tests, and of course it's going to be different for each individual, and some can be more painful than others. Sometimes it ends up being that everything that we hold dear or important is stripped away from us, and this is part of testing our capacity or our ability and attachment that we have to our ego. Okay, so it's about shifting past the ego. Now, as I said, each person's path and journey is different. Some people are not going to be severely or tested as severely as others because they may have actually passed these tests in previous lives, and this knowledge or experience remains in the aura. So the soul doesn't require them to have the same amount of testing in this lifetime. So this is where you're going to see variations. So his primary message is a reminder to you that when you express your lower will, or when we do, we're going to experience conflict and struggle. And the expression of the higher will is one that results in harmony. So part of his tasks includes bringing more experience or activities, if you like art and music, to embed them more deeply into the realm of human experience so that we can actually feel the emotions that the artist is trying to express. So this is why, personally, I encourage artists and musicians to try and use their talents towards something that helps people feel good, because this is part of raising the vibration. But at the same time, it's different strokes for different folks. Some artists feel drawn to, if we're talking about music, to create music that involves the release of anger. So, I've heard people, when I was working actually with young disadvantaged youth with a lot of anger issues, they expressed to me that they liked the angry music because it meant that they could get that anger out of their internal being and feel more peaceful afterwards. So it's whatever works for people. Just a reminder, of course, or one of his reminders is that our bodies are reflections of both our mortal consciousness and our soul. And when we're aligned with the divine, we are more filled with light, our bodily functions are quickened, and we become healed. So another reminder is that our souls are referred to as a white fire body because they are composed of this pure electronic light, and it is within this light the reservoir of the divine light, that love, wisdom and power. So when we raise our light and vibration, we are ascending. We're making a conscious decision to remain focused in each hour and moment on the divine light, and this sustains us and allows us to feel the gratitude. Okay, so just be aware. My advice to you is be aware that when you invoke the power of Gabriel to free you from limitation, you can do so while you're sleeping. You may actually have a sleep disturbance, feel a little bit afraid, because it's, as I said, there can be a little bit of discomfort when we're actually doing this growth. Just breathe through it. When the mind experiences a sensation it's not familiar with, so just remember this, it has to learn how to process this new sensation. And Gabriel's energy can be quite intense. So just remind yourself you're blessed and doubly blessed because you are awake with the conscious recollection of an amazing miracle that has occurred during your sleep state. So you could pray each night before you go to sleep that Gabriel enfolds you in his flame of resurrection, whilst you're sleeping, of course. A little bit more information about Gabriel is that he's the patron saint of small children, and he looks after and nourishes that small arrested child, the inner child who's often the wounded child that needs extra love. And he guides us through perhaps inspiration or whatever, to use methods to release this child or to heal this child with words of tenderness, love and compassion. He's also said to attend the childbirth and delivery of new souls into the physical existence or the human existence. And his responsibilities include connecting us to this intuitive knowledge and the knowing. And this is what requires that purification of the body, mind and spirit, so that we're more closely aligned to the higher beings. And of course, the Creator. Now, he offers hope, spirituality, and love, and he works with the throat chakra. And as I said before, most spirit communicators understand that the throat chakra also has a different name and reference point. It's often called the seat of the soul from a communication perspective, because the throat chakra, when it's operating perfectly, our clairs, they function with purity, and our responsibility as communicators is to convey any messages that we're given aligned with divine intention. And this is why a genuine medium will never give any messages from the guides and angels that are less than loving. Anyway, it takes dedication, and this, of course, is what he helps to support, is to build this dedication within us to ensure that we retain purity of the chakra and that it's not compromised by whatever's going on in our earthly life. So there, once again, just a reminder, there is a difference between channeling messages from spirit and messages from the guides. Our spirit guides work with the angelic team, so their primary focus includes fostering and strengthening our capacity to align our vision and purpose with the divine vision. And this is one of the ways that I sort of try and explain how the angels work within a team. So it's not just the angels off doing their thing for humanity or for the people on earth. Of course, we have a guardian angel, each of us, but we also have guides as well that have had human form. And so when we talk about working as a team, the angels are working with the guardian angels, with the guides, to all lead us towards our purpose. So once again, because the videos can be very long and I try and keep them as brief as possible, what I'll do is I'll let you go through this slide in your own time. If you've got questions, make a comment. But basically, when we talk about the throat chakra, this is what we can expect when it's functioning on a healthy level. And of course, Gabriel oversees the healing and purification of the throat chakra. And of course, this is, you may as well say, for peaceful communication, verbal expression, and divine communication. So he would send nurturing, he and Hope would send nurturing, healing energy to the throat chakra if it was becoming dysfunctional. So this slide, just to reiterate, this is about a healthy functioning throat chakra. And this slide is obviously when the chakra is out of whack, when it's imbalanced. You can go through this in your own time as well. Now, of course, it's not restricted purely, as chakra imbalance is not restricted purely to what we've got on this slide here. I might actually do some slides up at some point about understanding the chakras and how they function and what it looks like when they're functioning well and what it doesn't. Okay, but what I haven't put on here, and I should have put on here, is the fact that conditions such as depression, people may not be aware that when they have a depression diagnosis or when they're experiencing depression, that can often be a manifestation of blockages in not just the throat chakra, the blue one, but also with the orange sacral chakra, which is the one that Archangel Gabriel works over. Now, I will actually just give you a tidbit there. What happens when these are out of whack is the orange chakra, being emotional, the center of emotions, can speak of blocked inability to to feel emotion or to express it in healthy ways. And that's where that throat chakra bit comes in, expression. So somebody with depression may be feeling unsettled or whatever, but unable to clarify or articulate why it is that they're feeling depressed. And consequently, they struggle to make the changes in their life that would lead to them feeling greater peace. So if a person was working through depression, even if it's clinical or whatever, you obviously wouldn't stop following your doctor's guidance or whatever, but you would potentially, I would encourage people to work obviously on chakra balancing as an overall, but to take with them the awareness that their orange chakra and their blue chakra are out of whack, and they need a little bit more concerted effort on them so that they can actually become healthy. Oh, I need to get a wiggle on. This video is taking too long. Okay, so here's some personal healing suggestions for you when you're working with Archangel Gabriel. These are just some suggestions. You could ask more than this. You can find your own healing ideas by reflecting upon what's going on for you. But just remember as well that a lot of this is about being true to who you are, your authentic self, aligning yourself with divine will, and then being able to live and walk your authentic truth in the divine way, true to who you are. And of course, remember, when we're being our authentic self, we're actually being living, walking, talking examples and demonstrations of the Creator. And when we're invoking Archangel Gabriel, you can also request that they light up the symbols in your aura of your life so that you attract the perfect people and opportunities to fulfill your life mission. Other suggestions include giving you the discipline and powers of endurance and efficiency so that you can stay true to your path. And as far as the rest of them, just have a look here, because I'll just brush over this one and get onto the other slide for the sake of speeding up the video. But yes, you can always press pause. So as with all the archangels, they have healing temples, also referred to as healing chambers in the astral realms. They're said to have high energy days for you to be able to make a connection. I've said this in the previous videos. I don't believe it's restricted simply to be able to access them on the high energy days. I believe that if you put it out there, you can access them on any day. However, if we were going with this, we would say that his healing temple, his high energy day is a Friday. And that means you would be encouraged to do an invocation and a meditation for Friday to try and connect with him. One of the reasons why I dispute this is because obviously we've got different hemispheres and we've got different time differences. So my attitude is go with whatever you believe. If you feel that you must go on a Friday, then do that. But I also am a believer that any comments of limitation and restrictions, that they're a product of the human mind and that divine energy is unlimited. But either way, when you visit the temple, you can ask to receive healing energy to purify your mind, body and spirit. Ensure that your actions are always underpinned by the purity of intention and that you're aligned with divine will. These, once again, are suggestions. You could also request that you be healed and open to clear communication and guidance from the divine as you walk your path. Now, when we talk about the fourth ray, which you see here, he's the hold of the fourth ray, that is referred to as the ray that's called purity of God, the Creator. So it's a bit... I should do a different video with this. It's a bit like a magic wand in very simple terms. When they work with this energy, it is miraculous. It is absolutely amazing. But yes, he works with or holds the fourth ray, purity of God. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I used to sell crystals, so I'm very familiar with a lot of them, and I'm quite able to just differentiate what is quality and what isn't, and what might be a fraudulent piece of crystal. But the other point is that when you're working with the angels and the chakras, there's crystals that have energy for each chakra. And so I like to put up here some examples of crystals that you might use to connect with an angel for a specific purpose. Now, to be quite honest, I've got a lot of favourites. There's more than the crystals that are on here, but of course I'm limited with what photos I can put up and just time, really. So anyway, just a bit of outline here. When we talk about milky quartz, that is one of my favourite crystals. And no, I don't have a geode of it, but I would love to have a milky quartz geode because it's got this really beautiful, gentle energy about it, and it's often referred to as the mother quartz. So if you've got some mother issues, as in you've got unresolved stuff with your own mother, or you've got unresolved stuff with your children, that milky quartz is very helpful towards it. Aquamarine is brilliant, as is blue lace agate, for the softening of verbal expression. If they can take the sting out of words, if a person struggles with having this verbal filter and just well, I thought it, so it's true, that kind of thing. Those crystals can actually help to manage the expression. Lepidolite, this is another brilliant crystal. I don't tend to use it so much for the throat chakra, but it's suggested. I tend to work for it with, or use it when working with the crown chakra, but I also have used it as an antioxidant and detoxifier. And I don't mean that I put it in my drinks, I mean that I've actually put it in the bath water, but you wouldn't put the flaky lepidolite in the bath because it'll just fall apart. The best crystal that I know to be working with Archangel Gabriel is actually celestite or kyanite, and they're up there as my favourite crystals, along with selenite as it happens. So I'll leave that with you. So, of course, we talked about, going to sleep and requesting healing and a visit while you're sleeping. I do tend to do invocations quite often before I go to bed at night, especially if I'm asking for a temple visit. And I tend to play angelic music. And, of course, the idea is that I fall asleep. So I do ask for a conscious recollection of what's transpired when I wake up. I don't look as glamorous as this image, I might add. If it's all new to you to be doing this kind of thing, you could keep a dream journal beside your bed so that when you wake up, because there's two ways this is going to happen in my experience. You'll either be woken in the middle of the night because you'll know that something has happened, or you'll wake first thing in the morning and you'll get a rush of images which look like dreams, and then you've got to write them down. And it's much easier to note them in the morning, and you would write down everything, including colour, sounds, and feelings and sensations that you had while you were in the sleep state. Well, this is about the third time I've tried to do this. I'm going to try and do it right, okay? I keep stumbling over my words because I'm not comfortable completely doing this in a public forum. I've done it a few times now, but I'm still not comfortable. Okay, when it comes to doing an invocation, there's a couple of key points. First of all, start with the name that you call the Creator. If it's God, if it's Jesus, if it's just Father Creator, whatever name that is, you invoke the Creator first before invoking angels. You draw upon the power of three because three is powerful. I've got a video going up about that on the universal laws in the near future. We include the word or the words under grace and in the divine way to ensure that whatever requests and invocations we're putting in place are in adherence with divine law, and we follow all invocations with gratitude out of respect to the contributions of these higher beings to our lives. And also, when we actually do the invocation, we don't use a wussy voice. We actually use a firm and solid voice. It's not a prayer. It kind of is a prayer, but it's not a prayer. This is an invocation, okay? And we're not begging and pleading for help. We're actually stating a purpose and a function, and we would have been clear about this in the beginning as part of the preparation. So I'll go into it as an example. You would stand up generally when doing an invocation. Your palms would be out upwards, symbolic of receptivity. And then you would go into the invocation in the following way. Remember, this is an example. Father Creator, Father Creator, Father Creator, Mother Creator, Mother Creator, Mother Creator, my angels and guides, my angels and guides, my angels and guides. I now invoke the mighty Archangel Gabriel to enfold me in his flame of resurrection, to uplift my thinking and erase false beliefs. Purify my intention, my heart, my mind, my thoughts, my actions, my deeds. resurrect my soul purpose and bring to remembrance my mission. Open me to the full reception of divine joy. Thanks be. So there you go. That's how it happens. Then after you've done it, you just pause, you hold that space, and you continue breathing, and you allow the energy to infuse you. Now, the more you do this, the more you're going to notice energetic changes and shifts, and this is why you would give that little pause. Now, if you feel nothing, that's okay, all right, because everything happens over time, okay? What will happen in my experience is if you've put out an invocation in such a way and then you think, well, that was exciting, nothing much happened, and then you walk away, you start to find yourself doing things. Now, I will give a prime explanation of this as far as in my own situation, my own life, because something happened recently when I was trying to work on these videos for you, and I've been in a situation where I haven't had balance. I'm a bit embarrassed to say it, but yes, the housework had got on top of me. Now, I came to a screaming halt, so I put out an invocation for Archangel Gabriel, and I found that the next day I actually couldn't do anything on the video content, because instead of doing the video content, it was like the body was saying, I must do my housework. I have to do my floors. I've got to do X and Y. And it was just automatic. It was just autopilot. So this is what we talk about, inspired action. I would put that down to. It was just driven, shall we say. And the rationale behind it was, and I realised this actually as I was doing my housework, was it's impossible to actually have a decluttered space and mind ready for work when you've got things in your house that require purification and detoxification. So yes, that's an example of how it works. So I did mention before how often I use gratitude when I'm working with angels and doing services. And all I can say is that it is so important to incorporate an attitude of gratitude into our daily lives. And this is to do with energy, because the more gratitude we can actually hold and generate, the more we actually encourage more blessings to come to us. It increases the magnitude. I can't speak at the moment, obviously I need a drink of water. It increases the magnitude of being able to receive the blessings. And once people start doing it, it becomes habitual. So I do recommend and remind people, please employ gratitude in your life. As you become more confident working with energy and with angels, you'll no doubt reach that position where you actually want to actively do service work. Now, of course, when we do service work, it's important that we obtain consent where possible before sending healing energy. And this is part of ensuring that we don't interfere with their divine plan and avoid incurring negative karma for ourselves. So ideally, when you do service work, sending healing energy or invoking for angels to attend areas and places where there's unrest or whatever, then you can do the invocations by stating that the healing is distributed under grace in the divine way to the perfect people at the perfect place. You know, if it's not, basically you can put in little clauses there that it be redirected to somebody that needs that healing energy and where it's appropriate for them to receive it. The other thing is, of course, when you're sending healing, is basically to purify your intent. And I think, to be honest, you could call on Gabriel before you do any invocation or service work anyway, to purify your intention and to ensure that any healing energy that you send to people isn't tainted by your own personal energy and expectations, that it is pure and divine energy only. So I did talk before about the fourth ray, and the Archangel Gabriel is the holder of the ray, which of course is known as purity of God. Now, the thing is, it is associated with the base chakra and actually, I believe, the throat chakra, and its colour is white or crystal clear. The powers of the ray are all about this purification. I've touched on this as well, purifying our intention, resurrection of faith and divine alignment, and joy that's associated with, this enhanced spiritual connection that we get. Now, what else can I tell you about this? Basically, just that the images that I've created here are ones that sort of identify when you're trying to connect with the angels. You do put these golden cords in from your feet because it's about being balanced. So you've got the grounding cords in, and then you put in your silver cord through to the infinite. It's better to see yourself wearing white clothing. It doesn't have to be a dress like this, it can be a robe. A lot of this is symbolism, by the way. But anyway, yes, you put yourself in the white clothing, and then you just imagine or visualize and try and sustain the vision for as long as you can. If you can't hold it for any great length of time, that's fine. You would just do your invocation that you're going to anchor the fourth ray within your own aura and self, and then you visualize this and you just sustain it for as long as you can. It kind of reaffirms not only the openness to purification of the intention being in your entire aura, and it's a good activity to actually do before you do service work and that kind of thing anyway, but it also opens up your receptivity to receiving support and guidance from the angelic realm and to be able to receive miracles. Now, honestly, I think that's probably about as far as I can go with content on Archangel Gabriel. It's a long video. I apologize for that, but I hope that I've given you information that's useful to you. For now, though, I'm going to say thank you for being part of my journey. Love you, leave you. Catch on the next video. The next video I'll be creating and loading is one for Archangel Raphael, who of course works with the brow chakra. And don't forget, you can visit the playlist on the channel and you'll see all the other angel videos that are on the angels playlist. So for now, my friends, take care. Have a blessed week. Have fun and joy connecting with angels and finding your path, your purpose, and being your authentic self. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye for now.